So there's a ton of misinformation that continually keeps happening when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. And some of it is concerning, some of the criticism is warranted, but I really do feel like it's a lot of grifting that's happening when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. And not just Nintendo in general. It seems like negativity in general drives engagement. And most people, not all, but most people who are successful on YouTube, they want that ad revenue to keep flowing. And in order to get that, you need people to click. And for some strange reason, negativity seems to be the driving factor for a lot of people, even people who watch videos. They just don't want narratives that are negative to be disproven, which is really strange. So the first one is going to be the $90 Switch game. I was asking for information from everybody. Where is the $90 Switch game? Please show me the link to the $90 Switch 2 game. Haven't gotten it. And the reason? There isn't any $90 Switch 2 games. Now, of course, in different regions, prices are different, right? Nobody's complaining this generation that there are $90 to $100 PlayStation 5 games in Canada, because we all understand pricing is different based on regions. But for some reason, we forget that when we see European prices and we automatically equate them to US prices. See, this is where I get to the point where it's not a mistake. People are not that stupid. They can't be that stupid. It's got to be grifting. So, good guy over at Nintendo Prime did a video about the misinformation, and I wanted to include some clips of a video he put up and talk about it. So, the first one is the $90 US Switch 2 game price.
And this all stems back to prices in France and other countries in Europe, where you're seeing the physical game for Mario Kart 8 is listed at 90 euros, while the digital is listed at 80 euros. This has really begun the confusion because Nintendo created that price discrepancy and also raised prices about 30 euros for physical copies, or at least physical copies of Mario Kart 8 World in Europe. So Nintendo created the price discrepancy in that territory. That doesn't mean that price discrepancy applies to anywhere else, because pricing is localized. Just like you would go to Canada and things cost different there than they cost here in the United States, things cost different in Europe than they do, say, in Japan.
Now, this was the discrepancy that I was asking clarification for, because when I saw these reports, I saw that the pricing was listed as non-US based prices. And of course, people in Europe are going to have to deal with these adjusted prices, much like they have for almost everything else that they purchase versus anywhere else in the world's pricing model. So for the US, I did not see a dollar sign, $90, and I was asking for, where are these $90 Switch games? It's just not possible that everyone could be running with this, even these huge sites like Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming. I mean, it was just baffling to me that people who primarily have a large audience and whose job it is to actually get information for themselves rather than just see a pricing model for a completely different country and just apply that blanket statement to the US. It just couldn't be true, could it? So I looked for myself and I found out, of course, it is not US. There's only one US-based game that is higher than $70 right now, and that's Mario Kart World. Whether or not you think it's worth it or not, that's up to you. But there are no $90 Switch games, and this narrative, this fake narrative, just perpetuated itself based on clicks, based on engagement. And that's really the problem that a lot of older gamers like myself have with social media, YouTube in general. It's not really about games. It's not really about the love of games or the enjoyment of games, or even just giving you accurate information so that you can actually critique something that's actually worth critiquing. You can't critique fake news. You just can't do it. Because, I mean, how do you get upset about a $90 US-based Switch game when there aren't any, and yet every single major publication, hundreds of thousands of followers, YouTubers with millions of followers, push this narrative and continue to push it for the sole reason, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying this is Nintendo Prime's opinion, this is anybody else's opinion but mine. The sole reason is engagement, grifting, and ego. That's it. If you want an example of this, there's another narrative that continually gets pushed and is still getting pushed, Again, even after the $90 price tag was completely and totally shot down, now it's Nintendo is getting rid of physical games. There are no physical games anymore. No information is on the game carts at all. Every single Nintendo game is simply a cart with nothing on it. And again, when I heard this, I thought to myself, I know there are no $90 US Switch games. This really can't be true. Let me look into it and get the information for myself and maybe share it with people, which isn't going to get a lot of views and not a lot of engagement because it's the actual truth. But here it is. No, they are not getting rid of physical games. What they're getting rid of is the digital code in the physical box. You know, the thing that everyone hates when you buy a PlayStation 5 physical game or a collector's edition like the Indiana Jones collection on the Xbox, and you get the globe and you get a whip and you get an actual steel case booklet but no actual disc in the box? That makes no sense, right? So Nintendo decided to say, if you're going to buy a physical game, you're going to get the physical game. If you want to buy a digital game and get these game carts or third parties want to offer them, you in fact are turning a digital code into a physical product that you then can own, you can lend, and you can sell. You turn a digital purchase essentially into a physical one. So let's look at what Nintendo Prime explained in a way better than I could, and then we'll talk about it.
Some people are still probably confused even with this explanation and even with this graphic on screen. The fact that it needs so much explanation is already in that self-confusing. So let's compare it actually to something that is different but easier to understand. PlayStation and Xbox physical games. When you buy your physical games, you have to go home, insert the disc in those platforms, and wait for them to install. Sometimes that install involves downloading several gigs of information off the internet. Sometimes the install is entirely located on the disc. Now, once it's installed, that means the whole game is located internally on the hard drive of your PlayStation 5 or your Xbox Series X, right? That's the thing. It's all located internally. But you still need the disc to play. You have to put the disc in to play the game. Not because the system's actually reading anything off the disc and playing off the disc. It's because the disc still maintains the license key. That is what enables you to resell that physical copy because the license key never leaves the disc. So the entire game is installed and located on your local hard drive, just like buying a digital game and downloading it off the internet. They're very similar in that regard in that they both are located internally. And you need that physical item in the case of the Nintendo Switch 2, the game keycard, in the case of PlayStation 5, the disc, to actually play the game because it unlocks it on your system. That means it can be resold. So yeah, that's the easiest way I have to explain that. That is not Nintendo getting rid of physical games. That is Nintendo forcing companies that are putting codes in a box to say, no, you can't sell a fake physical game at a store that cannot be resold and handled in a similar way to an actual physical game. They're saying we can't do that. It's a bad look for our company. A better look would be if there was still a physical cartridge in there and you needed that cartridge to play the game, and you could resell it just like a physical game, and obviously it would just remain available so long as the servers are online to be able to download it. Or if you already have it downloaded on your system and you don't plan to sell at all, you can still use it. It's just, it is a fake physical because you're still downloading the game. Obviously, it's not located on the cartridge, but it's also partial physical because the license key is located on a physical cartridge, and that can be resold. It can be borrowed to friends, all that stuff.
So this is really, really interesting. You see people who are upset about digital distribution. There are tons of sites dedicated to, does it play the digital version or the physical version, or do you have all the information on the disc or the cart or whatever versus just actually something that is useless? Nintendo has literally decided to make digital purchases physical in a sense, so that you actually own something. The days of buying a physical box with nothing in it but a download code are over for Nintendo. PlayStation is going to continue it. Xbox, you know, they're 100% digital. They would want everything to be digital. This is a solution to digital distribution. It's literally giving you back ownership of something that you never owned. You buy a physical or a digital game on PlayStation or Xbox, you put that disc in or whatever, you download it, and you're stuck with it. You cannot do anything with it. You purchase a digital game and that's it. Think about the idea of saying, no, we don't want you to sell something, a box to people or a collector's edition with no physical disc or no information. Nothing for the consumer is in the box other than these little trinkets that they can collect. The idea of getting a collector's edition with an actual steelbook but no disc is baffling to me, and yet people buy them over and over and over again. And yet when Nintendo decides to give you back ownership of that digital purchase and let you resell it, let you lend it to somebody else, it's not tied to your account. They're making a digital purchase physical if you want it. How is this not pro-consumer? So look, here's the problem. There are actual things to be critical of with almost everything, right? PlayStation selling another Last of Us bundle. I mean, raising the price of the PlayStation 5. There's tons of things to be critical when it comes to Xbox, and there are tons of things to be critical about when it comes to Nintendo. The problem is you can't really focus on the things that are worthy of being critical when we're just making up things to be upset about. And that's the problem. And it's a me problem. I am not a social media person. I didn't grow up with social media. So the idea of grifting is so foreign to me. The idea that there are people out there that literally love to say things that just aren't true so that people get upset. That's somehow normal for people now with social media. It is just not normal to me. I would rather get actual information because I'm a fan. I want the information because I'm going to spend the money. And if I'm making a video talking about something that I'm passionate about, why in the world would I want to lie to get people upset? I don't care if 2 people watch a video or 200,000 people watch a video. If I have to lie, if I have to continually push narratives that have been disproven time and time again, then that's something that I'm just not willing to do. Are prices high in other regions? Absolutely. Are there some things that I'm concerned with when it comes to what Nintendo's doing? Absolutely. But are there a multitude of other things that they're doing? There's so much excitement right now around the brand, around the games, around the hardware. And I really feel like in about 6 months to maybe a year and a half after this system launches, you're going to see countless stories and articles about things like the digital cards and how they revolutionize digital distribution, how they give consumers back control over digital purchases. You'll see countless stories like this that are counter to what you're seeing now. And that's the real problem. Critical thinking is gone in favor of hits, subs, and engagement. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about this video. I'm excited about the Nintendo Switch 2. Donkey Kong Bonanza is my most anticipated game. Really close second is Metroid Prime 4. Thanks for watching. Again, think about liking and subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next video.